Instagram is about ready to start. Here we go. All right, you guys. I feel really cool this morning. I'm doing Instagram Live, Facebook Live at the same time. This is like a real class because I can look at you guys on Facebook and you guys on Instagram and feel like I'm connecting with all of you. So anyway, thanks everyone for jumping on. I see Natalie just jumped on. Dana, Sarah, you guys, thanks for jumping on. We are going to talk about our to-do lists and all of the stuff we have to get done. And I don't know about you, but I wake up every morning and could literally list 25 things on my list to get done during the day. Are any of you guys like this too? I see Sue on here and Amy just joined. Oh, Amy, thank you. She says my blouse is so pretty. Thank you. All right, you guys. So what is it that we have to get done? I want to invite all of you guys to just chime in the comments, and I'm going to try to watch them a little better than I usually do. Oh, hey, Andrea. Love that you just jumped on. You guys, I would like you to get in tune with one thing that you really need to get done today. All right, I'm going to teach you a system that will help you get a lot of things done. But I want us to all kind of start to get in that energy of what is something that we need to get done. So go ahead and start posting in the comments and I'll try to watch them. Having you comment on what that thing is going to bring it to the forefront of your mind. So this is one little way for you to start getting that thing done. But it'll also give us some good examples to work off of as we're doing our video today. So, oh, and Family Dudot says, can't wait to hear your tips. You guys, I think this is so good. Anyway, I'm excited to share them with you. Julie, good to see you on. Okay, you guys, this is so fun. We're all hanging out. All right, so let's talk about then this thing of all of this stuff that we have to get done. Does it make anybody feel a little bit overwhelmed? Does it make anyone feel a little incapacitated when you have so much to do? I know that we tend to fall to one direction or the other. I tend to go into high gear and get really anxious and uptight and try to just get a ton done, and I become kind of grumpy. I know I have a daughter who falls on the other end of the spectrum, that when she has a lot to do, she just shuts down and doesn't do any of it. And either way, we lose when we respond that way, because either the tasks build and become bigger, or we wear ourselves out and really end up doing a lot of things that probably didn't need to get done, but our brain is telling us you have so much to do, so you need to do it. Natalie says, I have laundry to do today, for sure. Raise your hand if you have laundry that could be done. All right, so what I want to teach you is so essential, because as we're all kind of jumping on these lives, whether you're on Instagram or Facebook, I think it's important to recognize we are all so different in our lives. You know, some of you may be young moms with little kids at home and babies. Some of you may have kids in school all day. Some of you might have a mix. Some of you might be working full-time or part-time, and some of you could be empty nesters or retired. And you know what's so crazy is no matter who I've talked to over the years, I've been doing this for about 15 years, no matter who I talk to, everyone says the same thing: I'm just so busy. And that blew my mind 15 years ago when I had so many little kids. I think, how could someone staying at home all day without their kids in school be as busy as me? How could they have as much to do? But now I find myself in that circumstance, and I'm sure many of you do, and it's true. We all have so much going on. So how is it that we have so much? Well, I think it's an indication, I guess, of the time that we live in, and we really need a good strategy to know how to help us sort through all of those things that we have to do. So Amy says one of the things on her list is she needs to remember to give a letter to my husband to put in the mailbox. Why is that so hard? Sometimes those littlest tasks can give us the biggest satisfaction. And you're right, sometimes getting them done is so hard. Well, let me show you a technique that can help you get it done. All right, so I offered to all of you through Instagram, Facebook, and through my newsletter to get the 5D Mind Dump. I'm doing a survey in my business right now. How can I help you get organized? And so as you answered those questions, you were supposed to get the 5D Mind Dump. Now, maybe you didn't get it yet, or I think there was a little bit of technical difficulty with some of that survey going through. So if you haven't gotten it yet, you can go to jennylayton.com/5D, and it will talk you through exactly what we are doing here today. So you're going to want to grab that resource as soon as we're done. All right, I'm going to do this the old-fashioned way. I have printed out the PDF I'm sending you. So this is what you will get on online. If if we were doing Zoom, I'd be doing screen share, but because this is live social media today, I just have printed it out. So the first thing we need to do, you guys, is we need to get everything out of our head onto a piece of paper or into some app or something that where we can see what it is that we need to do. The biggest problem that we have is our mind swirling the same task around and around. Have you guys ever had this happen before where you feel like something needs to get done and it keeps nagging at you, and it's that same task that keeps circulating that is making you feel overwhelmed when it's really maybe not that big of a task or that important of a task, and yet because it keeps coming up in your mind, it feels really stressful and overwhelming. When I think of this scenario, I think of it, if you guys have kids, I know a lot of you do, if you have little kids and you're trying to, get something done, you're working on the computer or you're talking on the phone or you're concentrating on something and they just keep telling you, Mom, I need you to do this. Mom, I need you to do this. Mom, I need you to do this. It's so hard because you're trying to focus and get something done, but that comment it just keeps coming and you're like, yeah, I'll do it. I just can't do it right now. You need to stop telling me that. Well, our minds do the same thing, you guys. So it's really important that if our minds can feel like they're heard by getting out of our head onto a piece of paper, starting to make it happen by writing it down, the mind can start to relax and say, okay, I've been heard. I trust that it's been captured somewhere that's going to be reviewed, and I'm going to be able to make sure that this task is addressed in some way. So the first D in the 5D mind dump is going to help you start to do that. To get that out of your head, you really need to determine roles. So this is what you'll see in the printout that I send you. You need to figure out what are your different roles. And I'm not talking about you've got to list 8 to 10. I'm just talking about the big ones that generate a lot of to-dos. So I wanted to do this as we were together with my to-do list today, but I wrote it out beforehand just so that it would be a little bit quicker. Here are the roles that show up for me most often. I've got the things I need to do in my home. I have the things I need to do for my family. For THG is the happy gal. Errands I need to run. That just ends up being an easier list for me if it's separate instead of all mingled in here because I execute kind of all at the same time on these ones. And then myself, the things I need to do for myself. These are the regulars. Sometimes if I've got something going on, like I don't know, if there's a church activity I'm in charge of, then I'll write church at the top and then that will generate some tasks. But these are the basic daily ones that I have to do. All right, when I write up my different roles, that lets my brain have this sigh of relief, like, okay, we're going to address everything. I'm going to be able to pull out all those little tasks that are hiding and waiting to haunt me, and I'm going to be able to be heard, and having like the home be a trigger. I can be like, okay, what needs to be done in the home? Let me clean my brain out of all of those different things. So the second step is then to dump. So you're going to dump everything out of your head into these categories. Now, if you're worried that this list is going to become gargantuan, don't worry, because that's what the rest of the D's are for. Just trust me on this one. If you allow it to remain in your head, you will have a cluttered mind. Now, pay attention to this. This is really important. One of the things that I say all the time is external clutter creates internal clutter. All right, I want you guys to think about that. If you have a cluttered counter or a cluttered home, how do you feel up here? You feel nutso, don't you? I feel like a lot of times I can't even function when I come in from being gone when there is just mayhem and chaos all over. That external clutter clouds my thinking and I can't make good decisions and get things done. All right, so the same thing is true when you reverse it. Internal clutter creates external clutter. Okay, so check this out. When I'm unclear about what I need to do, when I got all these tasks in my head, then when it's time to execute, I don't even know where to start. And I'm ineffective and I make poor decisions and I create external clutter, right? Like I want you guys to maybe look around your house right now, not having a clear action plan of knowing how to get things done this morning. Maybe you do, maybe you don't. Maybe it's a little muddy, maybe it's more clear. But if you're not quite sure where to start in your house, probably it's still kind of messy, or it will stay messy throughout the day. When we get clear up here, we can create results out here in the real world. Isn't that so cool? All right, so internal clutter, external clutter are very, very connected. So let's get those tasks out of our head, using those roles to help us really trigger, okay, what are all of these things that need to be done? And my list right here is this big for today. So that looks like a lot. Maybe your list is this big, maybe it's bigger. Maybe if you're really truly dumping everything out, you are going to have a huge list of things that you're really behind on that need to get done. I don't want you to be scared of that, you guys, because I want you to remember, if you don't pull it out here, it stays up here, and then we don't think clearly and we don't make good decisions. All right, so let's talk about the rest of the 3Ds to help you know what you do about all of this. All right, so the next thing, I'll pull out my paper. I feel like I'm teaching a little lesson to my kids with these. This is what you'll get online. Next time I'll teach this class on Zoom so I can screen share. All right, the next D, the third D is delete or delay. I kind of snuck an extra D in there. All right, so everything that comes out of your head is important and your brain wants it to be heard. But the whole purpose of getting it down on paper is so you can make a good decision about, is this worthy of my time? Now, you're going to have a lot more things on here than you can possibly get done. You guys, I am really good at productivity. I get a lot done, but I'm telling you, I go to bed every night with a good portion of my list not done, all right? But that's not because I'm not good at it. It's because we only have so much time. We need to make really good decisions about what's worth spending our time on. So I want you guys to maybe write this down if you've got a pen handy, or just remember this. If you're saying yes to something, you're saying no to something else. All right, so if you try to say yes to every single thing on this list, you're not gonna make video. Sorry, Instagram, someone was trying to call me. Anyway, okay, hope we're all still going. I'm looking too to see if I've got any other comments. Sarah, my sweet friend, says, hey, beautiful, hey, back. And I've got some other comments on Facebook Live. Jenna Anderson says, hey, I'm in Layton today. Jenna, I'm gonna be in Layton today too. We should try to hook up. That's so fun that you're here in town. And Amy says, well, that's so true. I love, Amy's always so right on with her comments. So thank you, Amy. All right, so you guys, let's come back to this list though. If you say yes to everything on this list, you're going to end up saying no to some things. So this next phase where we're going to delete or delay, this is you making a conscious decision of what's important and what's not. And so all of these things, because they can't be done, we are going to consciously decide some of these things just aren't worth doing. It was nice that we got it out of my head. Then we're going to tell our brain, you know what, that's not important enough for me to spend my time on it. Or it's important, but I'm not even going to look at it until the end of the week or next week or next month, right? So I did a mind dump this morning and I'm looking at everything that I have and I want to zero in here on my family. All right, so I've got a couple of tasks for my kids. I have a son on a mission. He may, because of the coronavirus, come home a little early. That's just me like jumping ahead, right? They've quarantined his mission, and if it doesn't get better, he might get sent home early, which puts me into a lot of action. So all of a sudden on my radar, I got to get some bedspreads and look at paint colors because there's some room stuff we got to get done before he comes home. But I'm looking at my week this week and what has to be done. This is a maybe, and it feels good to get it out of my head because I've been really worried and concerned about that with my son and being ready for him to come home. But this is not the week for me to face that. I've got much bigger fish to fry this week. So I am just going to put a little circle around these ones, and that means they are not on my list for today. And I might even, as I write delay, write, I'm going to do this next week. Okay, and I might rewrite this list so that I don't have so much on it, but this at least helps me pull this out of my head. I can put it on my list for next week. That way my brain doesn't keep nagging at me. You haven't looked at paint colors yet. You haven't looked at your bedspreads yet. But I don't need to have that chatter in my head anymore. And I'm free to focus on what's really important, okay? So I have been doing this. I'm gonna bring you back down to the happy gal right here. My next week's content, that's really important. I'm not going to let that one slide today. Amy Chandler retreat and turn retreat quotes. These two have been bumped for about a week and a half from my list, either each day or into next week, because they haven't been urgent enough that I've had to give them my attention yet. So they're on my radar. My brain feels comfortable that it's out, but I have been delaying these ones, okay? So some days, I'm also going to just really highlight how important this is right here. In a different time, I'm going to talk about self-care because that is the heart of being able to get all of this stuff done. These are staples that I do every day. Normally, I don't need to write them down because by the time I do my list, I have a habit of doing these two early in the morning. Sometimes this one and reading my scriptures ends up one that I've got to try to work into the day. I'm working on some habit hooks around that one. But I want you guys to just recognize some days when I write down everything I need to do, even though exercise is a big priority for me, sometimes I have to bump it for that day. And the beauty of what we're doing here, you guys, is cleaning this out of my head, recognizing I'm acknowledging that self-care is important. I'm not saying I'm not going to do it and that it's not something that is a value or a priority for me. But today, as I look at everything that needs to be done, I can't find 30 minutes to do it, and I'm going to pull it off. And then I'm giving myself permission to do it without letting it haunt me, so that when I'm going to bed at the end of the day, I think I didn't even get my workout in. No, I get to think I chose to not do my workout because I knew that for today, there were more important things. So I hope that helps a lot of you as you're thinking through how you fit things into your day like puzzle pieces, trying to pack it all in. We need to give ourselves permission to let go of certain things. And that's just a really great example of how I do that on a daily basis. All right, any questions, you guys, please post. Oh, Julia says, where is he? Where is my son? He is in Thailand. And the Thailand Bangkok mission and the Singapore mission and the Cambodia missions all just got quarantined for a couple of weeks. And then they're going to reevaluate and hopefully get out and back to work. But if not, I don't know, another couple of weeks of quarantine and they may decide to send some of them home. So, which would be so sad. Everybody pray for him and for that mission and that area of the world because that's the last thing he wants to do and they could all use our prayers. All right, so fun to have all of you guys on. And Family Dudot says, watching you is my self-care today. Oh, Kate, that's so awesome. You guys, I love that. Let me just highlight that too. Sometimes self-care is just that little bit of investing in yourself in learning something new. And so all of you, I hope you'll count this. In fact, I had someone teach a class once that said that when she was younger and had little kids and couldn't get a lot done, if the milk got spilled and she wiped it up, she would then write it on her list, cleaned up spilled milk and cross it off so that she could feel a little more accomplished during her day. So if you're a to-do list person, you're a list maker, write this down on your list for self-care and then cross it off and it'll just make you feel even that more productive today. Thanks for that comment, Kate. That was great. Okay, so the next one then, the fourth D is to delegate. All right, so I want you guys to just think about the fact that some of these things can be done by other people. Because I think most of us on here are women, and this is just kind of a general woman thing that we do. We tend to really take a lot on. And we tend to think that we need to be the one to do it. We don't want to burden other people, or we do it better, so it's just easier for us to do it. I heard another quote once that said, lazy moms do all the work. And you guys, I'm so guilty of that. There are sometimes I think I'm not even going to ask for any help with dinner, not going to ask any help for cleanup. Are any of you with me? Do you ever feel this way? It's just easier to do it on your own. But the truth is that if you look through your list, there are things that you can delegate. I'm going to show you a really important one. All right, so print info for Grace on my family task. All right, my daughter's in 5th grade. They're doing this Great American Challenge, and she needed to have a study guide for these things that they're memorizing to pass off, like the list of the U.S. presidents and the Gettysburg Address. And I told her, hey, I'll just print those all off for you while you're at school. And then I started looking at that and I'm thinking, this girl is better on the computer than I am. She knows how to Google search for these things. When she gets home, she can do it. That doesn't have to be something on my plate, because I can promise you, Grace doesn't have this much on her to-do list today, right? So I can just move that one and say, Grace, you're going to get to do that one. And that takes something off my plate. I'm saying no to this. For me personally, someone else can do it. But that's so that I can say yes to this one, this video training I need to watch with my family. That's really important that we get that done. All right, going through my paper, I'm going to say yes to that because I can promise you Grace and nobody else in my family can do that one. So I'm going to delegate the things I can so that I have the time to get to the things that really only I can do. All right, my favorite one, do it in the right order. And I've given you examples below in this so that you can really kind of reflect on this, review it, and see how it works. But this is the dynamite piece, you guys. So I'm just gonna say that, let's say I've gone through all of this already, and now I know all of the things that don't have anything written by it are the things I'm going to do. All right, so now I'm going to do it in the right order. I'm actually going to put number 1 by what I'm going to do, number 2 by what I'm going to do, and follow that order. This is genius, you guys, because as you have a ton of stuff to do, it's really easy to get sidetracked. So if you ever do this, you're like, okay, I'm going to pay this bill on the computer. And then a notification pops up on your email, and what do? You spend the next 30 minutes in your email getting caught up, right? And then that email task generates an idea of, oh, I needed to call this person. So you call the person, and you're so sidetracked from your list of things that you said you were going to do. When I put a number by what I'm going to do, that is a way to really discipline myself. If I'm looking at my list right now, the first thing I'm going to do is home base. The second thing I'm going to do is go through my paper. Third thing I'm going to do is start my dinner. I just know getting those things done is going to set me in my home and free my mind so I can work on my business. I know that Sam's email will come next that I need to send out. And then I'm going to come down here and start looking at what is the priorities. Content for next week is the priority. I really have been wanting to watch this system for creating content. I'm going to just put that as number 6 so I make sure I get it done. Okay, and so on. So then I'm going to have this list in front of me, and when I'm like, okay, I've got an hour, what am I going to do? I'm going to look, number 1, I'm going to take care of home base. Oh, and for those of you that don't know what home base is, I hope you all know. Does anybody not know what home base is? Have we been together long enough that you guys have picked up on some of this lingo? I know I've got a lot of past boot campers on here. Home base is that area of your home that makes the biggest difference when it's clean. We got to kind of like distinguish, right? Like what's most important to get taken care of. Because when that part's clean, you can think and function. You know, maybe the bathrooms need to be clean, but at least that kitchen counter and the dishes are clean. And then you feel like you're free to think. That's what home base is. So that's where I would start, is with home base. And then going through my paper and so on. All right, having that list really helps put some parameters around what needs to be done, and it starts to make this list something that's realistic to execute. You know, when I write this down to 3, 4, 5, 6 things I'm going to do, then I have an order, then my brain's not pinging all over the place. And you know what? As I am working on my paper and see some project and think, ooh, I should take care of this right now, I'm going to be able to check myself and say, I already made a list of what my priorities are. And I know that that project, I can jot it down. In fact, do you know what is a great category? Future projects. Write that down right on your list. Add it here. You can transfer this to an app on your phone of future projects that you have, another list you want to make, whatever, but at least it keeps you on track. It allows your brain to feel comfortable that you're recognizing it, you're acknowledging it, but I'm going to stay going on this list that I have here. All right, so it's really funny, you guys, because I shared this system with one of my friends who's really productive. She's great in her business. And she was like, are you kidding? That, like, put it in Trello, put it in Wunderlist, do it on an app. And you guys, I love apps and I use them for everything. But there is something for me about putting it down on paper, crossing it off, having it all on the same page, where I'm not having to look through multiple screens of things, that this just works for me. So if you want it to look super pretty, you can play around on some of those apps, and I think probably in the future, I'll learn a new way to do it that uses apps that will be beautiful, and I'll be excited to share. But right now, if you really want to look behind the curtains at how I'm getting my to-do list done, this is honestly every day. This is what I do. And I know it can work for you guys. You're going to have to play with it a little bit maybe to see, you know, what pieces really are relevant for you. But I really challenge all of you guys to go to jennylayton.com/5D, get the 5D mind up, read through it. Remember that thing at the beginning of the lives that I asked you guys to check out to think about what you were going to do for the day, that top priority. Really today, coming out of this training, make sure that that chore gets put on your list and go ahead and put a little number 1 by it, right? So when you're done with this training, when it's time to get going and start getting stuff done, that's kind of your trigger that will pull the trigger in getting it done. Crystal Checkett says, I'm new, I don't know home base. You guys, I am actually going to bring this back full circle for Crystal and for anyone else who's new to me, all right? So starting next week, March 2nd, I have another round of the Get Organized Bootcamp coming up. If you are wondering, okay, that's great, I have this list, but it's so long, and I've got to do the dishes and do the laundry and try to get up and clean up the house and all of the different pieces that come to kind of like running a home and home management that get in the way of maybe doing some of these other things, like for me, my business, maybe for you it's a business, maybe for you it's just some hobby or some other kind of thing you want to get done. If it even gets in the way of family stuff, I'm just going to say it, I think everybody needs the Get Organized Bootcamp. And those of you that are on that have done the bootcamp, I would love to hear comments from you. Oh, cute Kate from Family Do Dot says, oh, the bootcamp is the best. This is the place that I start everyone. Boot camp is where I say go to, because these are the basics of having an organized life. It is going to help organize your day and align things so that it is effortless and easy to stay on top of everyday life. When you have everyday life stayed on top of, then getting to the things on your list, suddenly there's space in your calendar to do it, because you're not going all over the place trying to just deal with the clutter that's coming in and staying on top of the things in your family life. Boot camp really is kind of a magic. All right, so if you have not ever experienced that, again, it starts on Monday. I would recommend getting signed up right away for it. There's an introduction video, a welcome video, and that just really helps you kind of get on the right page so that you are ready to go Monday morning. And it is so fun. Boot camp week is hands down my favorite week. We have a Facebook group. We post our before and afters. Everyone's asking questions. I pop in live every day just to see how everyone's doing. We have a bonus group coaching call that's amazing. So I hope you guys will all check that out. It really is the solution for getting your home and those daily routines under control. And it really does just fit. It's amazing how easy it is once you have those systems and routines. All right, so you guys, that's what I've got for you this morning. Thank you so much to so many of you for tuning in. I really did not intend to go for 30 minutes, but here we are. I hope it was valuable to you. Oh, and I've got a few people on my Facebook group. Serial is saying boot camp is awesome, highly recommended, still saving me daily. That just like gives me the warmest feeling. Serial, thank you for saying that. I live by boot camp principles every day. It's what keeps me going. Julia says, yes, do it. Totally worth it. Life-changing. And thank you, Julia. So Jackie has a question. We're not quite at 30 minutes, so I'm going to take a minute and answer that. And thanks to so many of you for jumping on. And let's see, Christy Walsh says, boot camp helped me feel like I could take charge of my life. Thank you. Awesome. Christy, thank you for sharing that. We just have such a great little community of boot campers, and I just really love everyone that joins, and we do see life-changing results. And Dana says, Jenny said it perfectly. Boot camp really is the solution. Oh, you guys, thank you. I'm so grateful that we've all been able to connect through social media or wherever we've connected, and that we're able to really kind of share what's worked for us. And hopefully today the 5D Mind Dump will help you see some light in knowing how to get more done. And then again, joining me with that boot camp's awesome. If you want to join boot camp, jennylayton.com/bootcamp, and I will put it in the notes so that you're able to find that and get registered. Okay, Jackie. Oh, Amy says, me too. She loves, maybe she's asking about this question. Jackie, let's do your question. I have a hard time with always being pulled towards the tasks that are urgent but low value and not working proactively on the things that have the biggest payoff, like planning memorable family trips and implementing ideas I have to make more money in my job. Ooh, great question. Any tips for managing that balance? All right, you guys, I'm going to give you a little bonus here. All right, so stick with me if you still want to hear this. All right. So Jackie, what you are talking about requires that you start to go inside and really start to feel the feelings as you're making your list. Now let me show you, okay? As I'm making my list and I'm prioritizing it, I'm like, okay, home base, non-negotiable. Going through my paper, non-negotiable. It's my task for the week. This is what I do today on this week to get it done. I have to do that. Starting dinner, non-negotiable. Family dinners are important to me. Being healthy is important. I have to do it. All right. Then I start looking through at what is a little less negotiable. All right. So my content for next week, not negotiable. It has to be done. Here's though where I start to make some decisions, and Jackie, this is where I'm going to say start to tune into how you feel. A lot of what I teach in getting organized has a lot to do with self-awareness, because that comes so into play in decision making. As I look at these other things that I need to do, survey results was almost my number 6, because I really need to tally those up and assimilate that information. But here's one that is going to rank at the same point as planning that family vacation or figuring out how to make more money on your job. I've been wanting to watch this for a couple of weeks now, this system for generating content, and it just keeps getting bumped. But I could feel the pull in my gut as I made these that if I don't do this today, I'm going to go to bed feeling kind of empty and just feeling like I spent a lot of time and I made progress, but maybe not down the road I really wanted to be going down. So that's really, I think, could be its own separate training as we talk about awareness. But what I would challenge you to do is, as you're looking at things, there are things that you know have to be done. There are other things that would be nice to do, but you don't have to do them. But then there's those things you really want to do. And I think one of the great things we can pull out of this training is let's pull those want to do's above the it would be nice to do's. And if you really do want to start making more money in your job, then the task I would give you is to list that on your list, give it a number that means that you're going to be able to look at it today, try to put it in the top 3 or the top 5, but then get specific. And again, this is a little extra training, Jackie, but I think this is where we get stuck in projects and things, is we think, all right, how? I mean, that's like your brain's like, well, what do you mean make more money in my job? Like there's a lot of roads I could take with that. And so really what I would recommend you do is turn that task into something that's a little more actionable. So specifically, what do you mean by that? Is there someone in your upline that you need to reach out to? Or is there something you can research online for just 10 minutes that would make a difference? Or is there a task that you've known you've needed to do for a while that would generate and more, end up generating more income? Could you do that for maybe just 10 minutes today? And could you make that maybe your number 4 or number 5 task? Suddenly that reframes your list, reframes your priorities, and it's doable. Your brain's on board, and you've been able to follow your gut a little bit to say, I just really don't want to go to bed again tonight, not having taken made some progress in that. So Jackie, thank you. That is such a good question. All right, you guys, this has been so fun. I think I'm going to upload this to YouTube because it's been good and juicy. So if you want to watch a replay, you can find me on YouTube. Come back to Facebook. I don't know if I'm going to save this one on Instagram yet. But if you're watching me on Instagram, come to The Happy Gal on Facebook, like The Happy Gal on Facebook, and then you can catch this replay or find me on YouTube. And you guys, those of you on Facebook too, I'm hanging out on Instagram a whole lot lately. I'm doing a lot of stories, so that's where I'm doing a lot of my announcements and things. So come follow me on Instagram at the_happy_gal. All right, did I give you enough to do? I just gave you like 5 things to put on your list. Follow Jenny on Instagram and Happy Gal, join boot camp, download the 5D Mind Dump. All right, well, stick with me, you guys. I'm going to help you organize all of it, all right? So fun to hang out with you. Thanks again for joining me today. Thanks for all your comments, and we will talk to you all soon.